There's a belief that Taurus has always carried, and that has never been questioned deeply enough. The belief that you can endure, that regardless of what happens, you'll be standing the next day, that the strength within you is inexhaustible, almost as if resistance were your most fundamental, most non-negotiable nature. But today, I want to ask you something that perhaps no one has asked you before. What if enduring everything all the time isn't a sign of strength, but a sign that you haven't yet learned to recognize when the universe is trying to stop you? Because there's a specific moment in a Taurus's life that's unlike any other. It's not when things are difficult. Taurus knows hardship. It's not when there's pressure. Pressure is almost familiar. It's when you look at everything you've built, everything you've held onto, and you feel that thing you swore you'd never feel. The urge to let go, the urge to stop. An exhaustion that's not just physical, it's spiritual. It's about what you still believe in. It's about the ability to imagine things getting better. Because at that very moment, in the worst, heaviest, most silent moment, something begins to happen around you. A sign that seems impossible to ignore appears. A person you haven't seen in a long time reappears. A closed door opens slightly without you having touched it. A thought arrives in the middle of the night that seems too big to be just yours, and you don't know what to do with it, because your head tells you it might be a coincidence, that you're interpreting everything through the eyes of someone desperately needing a way out, that maybe you're reading signs in things that have no meaning at all. But what if that's not the case? What if these signs aren't products of an exhausted mind? What if they are exactly what they seem to be? Messages, coordinates, confirmations that something invisible is trying to reach you with an urgency you haven't yet understood. There's something Taurus does almost automatically when it's nearing its limit. It hardens more, it closes itself off more, it puts more layers between what it feels and what it shows. As if the answer to being on edge is always the same: resist more, control more, endure more. And for a while it works, because Taurus is extraordinarily capable of reorganizing itself internally without showing any cracks on the outside. But this ability comes at a cost that Taurus rarely calculates with true honesty. The cost of constantly hardening yourself is that, over time, you can no longer distinguish what you're protecting from what you're holding back. The armor built to defend yourself from pain begins to defend you from the life you wanted to live, from the people you wanted to reach, from the opportunities that encountered a wall that wasn't there for them. It was there for something that hurt you a long time ago. And the universe, which has a particularly unsettling way of operating, doesn't give you gentle warnings when this happens. It gives you something much harder to ignore. Silently, it begins to dismantle what you've spent years building. Not as punishment, but because what was built on the fear of loss would never be able to take you where you need to go. And when everything starts to tremble, when the people you thought would be there for you drift away, when the plans that seemed certain crumble, the signs arrive with greater force than ever before. And the question that remains unanswered is not whether they are real. The question that remains is, are you still in an emotional state to listen? Truly listen, without filtering, without discarding, without turning what was meant to be felt into a rational argument? Because there's a huge difference between recognizing the signs and knowing what to do with them. And Taurus, more than any other sign, tends to recognize the signs in their heart and deny them in their head. The Taurus mind is too brilliant for its own good at times. It constructs perfect arguments against what the whole body already knows to be true. It was while searching for answers to this that I found this digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose. It's not a book that tells you what to do. It's a book that teaches you to recognize what is already happening within you and around you. For a Taurus on the edge, it doesn't add more weight. It brings clarity. The clarity of understanding that the universe isn't punishing your strength. It's calling you to use it in a completely different way. The solidity you've been searching for externally, this book shows you where it truly resides. You're in a very specific moment right now, still processing, still with that feeling that something didn't quite fit, not in the explanation, but somewhere deeper in that space where you don't yet have words. And it's precisely this discomfort that shouldn't be rushed, because what you're feeling now is the clearest sign that something real is moving inside you. And this movement doesn't wait. The link is in the first pinned comment, but be aware, this content may be taken down. Click now and download your copy. And before we continue, tell me in the comments, is there a situation in your life right now where you know you should let go, but you can't? Write it down below. No judgment, no rush. Because what the universe is doing right now isn't random. It's not a cosmic coincidence without a clear destination. What's happening now in Taurus's life has a logic, not the logic that the Taurus mind prefers, linear, predictable, calculable. It has the logic of what needs to happen for the next level to become possible. Think of it this way. When a forest catches fire, the human instinct is to call it a tragedy, and from the outside it looks exactly like that. Everything that was standing, alive, familiar, goes down in ashes. But beneath the ashes, seeds that lay dormant for decades, waiting for an opening that the shadow never allowed to arrive, finally find light and fertile soil. The forest that will be born there is not a consolation for the lost forest. It is something that the ancient space could never have contained. What's being transformed in Taurus's life right now isn't Taurus. It's the version of Taurus that should never have been the definitive one. It's the shell you needed to be for a while, and that the universe is now removing because it's become too small for what you're about to become. And the divine signs, those that appear when everything that seemed solid begins to crack, are not comfort. They are coordinates. They are the universe telling you that it hasn't stopped working just because you've started to doubt. They are the map for a journey you don't yet have the vocabulary to describe. Have you ever paid attention to how signs arrive for Taurus? They don't arrive in grand announcements. They don't arrive as a dramatic vision in the middle of the night. They arrive in a way that only makes sense when you stop trying to fit rational explanations into what was meant to be perceived at the level of intuition. A number that keeps appearing. A song that starts playing at the very moment you were thinking about that. A conversation you overheard, where someone said something that seemed directed at you even though they didn't know you were listening. A dream that left such a vivid aftertaste that you woke up staring at the ceiling for minutes, unable to understand why. And what does Taurus do with all of this? He files it away. He puts it in his mental folder of interesting things, but without a conclusion. Because Taurus needs proof, needs consistency, needs the same sign to appear often enough that it's impossible to call it an accident. But here's the problem with that criterion. The universe doesn't send signals to convince your head. It sends signals to awaken what's already responding within you, before your head has time to formulate a counter-argument. And the criterion of, I need more proof, is often the most elegant way Taurus has found to remain in the comfort of what it knows, even when that comfort has become a cage. Because the truth is, you already feel it. You already know. There's a part of you that recognized the signs the moment they appeared. The issue isn't perception, it's courage. Courage to act on what was felt before it was proven. And that's exactly what the universe is asking of you right now, not certainty, movement. If you've made it this far and felt that something is happening in your life that goes beyond what you can name on your own, if you recognize something in these signs that you've been trying to ignore, this recognition has a next step. And it's not waiting for more proof. The digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose, was created for exactly this moment. For the Taurus who has already felt the sign but is still hesitant to trust it. Within these pages, you will find what the divine signs of your sign mean and what to do when they arrive. Not theory, real-world application for the real life of a Taurus at a turning point. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. But here's something that needs to be said carefully. There's a pattern that Taurus repeats, silently, cycle after cycle, and that no one usually points out clearly enough for it to be truly seen. Taurus builds, that's undeniable, with patience, with determination, with a capacity to sustain effort over time that few signs possess. But Taurus also has a deep, almost subterranean tendency to build the walls along with the house, to create security and isolation with the same materials at the same time without realizing that it is doing both things simultaneously. You've built something solid, a life, a routine, a set of choices that protect you. But how much of what you've built is truly what you wanted, and how much was built to ensure certain pains never return? How much of what you call stability is actually control? And how much of what you call security is actually immobility? This is a question that Taurus rarely asks themselves, not because I'm incapable, quite the opposite, but because the answer requires revisiting things that cost a great deal. And Taurus, who deeply values what they've invested, has a natural difficulty in letting go of something that took years to build, even when that something no longer serves the purpose for which it was created. And then the cycle is complete. Taurus reaches its limit. The universe removes it. Taurus reacts by hardening even more, rebuilds on the same foundation, and one day, without warning, the weight returns, because the root hasn't changed, only the walls. The only way out of this cycle is not more resistance. It's letting go before being forced. It's recognizing the sign before it turns into a crisis. It's having the courage to dismantle by choice what the universe will dismantle anyway, only with much more pain and much more wasted time. And it's understanding that dismantling is not the end. It's the construction site. And then, at some point during this dismantling, while you're looking at everything that's been moved and trying to figure out what can still be salvaged, something starts moving in a way you didn't expect. It's not a recovery. It's not everything going back to where it was. It's a reorganization, and it doesn't ask for your approval. People who were at the center of your life drift away, leaving behind a silence that, however uncomfortable, reveals that what they brought was never real fulfillment. It was noise. And in the silence that remains, you begin to hear things that the noise prevented you from hearing. Circumstances that seemed permanent begin to shift. Opportunities that arise from places you weren't looking. Connections that appear without you having anticipated them. Paths that open up precisely where you believed there were walls. And here's what Taurus urgently needs to understand. This reorganization is no accident. It has an architect, and this architect doesn't work at the pace Taurus prefers. Slow, predictable, with deadlines and signed contracts. He works in waves, in cycles, in signs that arrive before what is visible and that prepare the ground for what is yet to come. What's leaving your life right now isn't being taken away. It's being released, and what's arriving, even if you can't see it clearly, was waiting for exactly this space that's opening up now. Not last year, not when things were good, now. At this specific moment, in this exact configuration of chaos and openness and exhaustion and possibility. Is it scary? Yes. But scary doesn't mean wrong. What's happening to you right now? This reorganization you didn't ask for, this space forcibly opened up, has a spiritual dimension that goes far beyond what's visible in everyday life. And understanding this dimension changes everything. In the digital book, The Divine Path that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose, there's a map for exactly this moment. For Taurus, who sees things leaving and can't be sure if what's coming is worth it. For those who need more than hope. They need concrete guidance on what the universe is building when everything seems to be falling apart. This book offers a vision of the complete process, not just the phase you're in now. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. And now comes what is perhaps the most important thing of all that has been said so far. There is a specific revelation about the Taurus moment that completely changes the perspective on what is happening. And it's unsettling precisely because it's simple, because it doesn't require a complex theory, because any Taurus who is at this point, upon hearing this, will feel, before understanding, that it's true. You're not at the point of giving up because you failed. You're at the point of giving up because you've reached the end of something that has already served its purpose. And the universe doesn't have a gentle way of telling you that when you're not willing to stop long enough to listen. Imagine an airport. You're rushing through the terminal, your suitcase heavy, your lungs burning, glancing at your watch and knowing you're going to be late. And when you reach the gate, it's closed. The flight departed 5 minutes early, and you collapse into a chair, exhausted, with the heaviest feeling imaginable, that of having arrived late for what was yours. But what if the flight that was cancelled wasn't yours? What if all the rushing around, the heavy suitcase, the effort that almost broke you, was what made you miss a flight that would have taken you to the wrong place, at the wrong time, with the wrong people? What if your flight hasn't even departed yet, and the only thing separating you from it is the time you'll spend staring at the closed gate, lamenting what's gone? The divine signs that have come to you lately, those you called coincidences, filed away, tried to explain logically, they weren't about the flight that closed. They were about the next one. They were coordinates for a journey you can't yet see, but which is being prepared right now while you're here listening to this. And what the universe needs from you is not more effort. It's not more resistance. It's simply this: that you don't give up in the next 5 minutes before the gate opens. Because giving up now, at this specific moment, with these signs appearing, would be the only choice that would truly close a door forever. Not collapse, not reorganization, voluntary resignation. If this revelation came to you as something you already knew but had never been able to organize, then you are exactly where you need to be for the next step. The digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Life of Purpose, is the guide for this journey being prepared for you. Not as a vague promise, but as concrete guidance on what Taurus needs to access now, internally, spiritually, in daily choices, so that the revelation that has arrived here becomes real movement in your life. So that the signs you are receiving are translated into action, not just perception. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. There is a strength in Taurus that is unlike any other in the zodiac. It is not the strength of the one who endures everything. It is the strength of the one who remains faithful to the earth, to the roots, to what is real, even when what is real does not yet have a visible form. Even when the only thing you have to hold on to is the certainty that there is something on the other side of this journey. When Taurus doesn't give up at the exact moment when the universe is most actively working in their favor, something takes hold that no amount of effort could build: deep confidence. Not the performative confidence of someone who says they'll be okay, the organic confidence of someone who has walked through the darkest times and discovered there was firm ground beneath their feet. The signs you received are not coincidences. They are architectural. And the strength you thought you were losing during this period, it didn't go away. It was being redirected, reinvested, prepared to carry what is coming, not what has already served its purpose. There is no such thing as giving up in the universe's vocabulary when it comes to Taurus. There is rest, there is transformation, there is the right moment to let go of what has already been and open your hands to what is yet to come. And there is you, at this very moment, choosing to remain. You didn't come all this way to stop now. You came all this way to arrive.